Hello, this is Black Country Blokes chewing the fat.
Listen.
I've been hearing a lot lately about men don't talk, but in my experience, men do talk, just people aren't listening. So it's going to be me and a group of blokes discussing our struggles and victories through life. Warning, there may be some bad language, so apologies to all the moms, especially my own. Let's get going.
Listen.
Abin, yeah, this is Black Country Blokes chewing the fat. For me, Kev Dillon, Craig Pinches, Lee Cadman, and once again we're joined by one of my very good friends, Nick Daveis, who is a NLP practitioner, hypnotherapist and life coach. Now we're in January, this shitty time of the month where we've all spent too much and we're waiting for our next paycheck to come in. Now's a good time to set goals. Not what they call New Year's resolutions, but just goals, things that we can achieve. And if we don't achieve them, something we can strive towards. So has anyone got any New Year's resolutions or these goals?
Mine will be, after speaking with Nick on the last one, self-care.
Yeah.
You know, because you can set a goal to be rich, you can set a goal to work more or work less. No one ever sets a goal for self-care.
Right.
So that's a big one for me because, you know, I don't want another year like the past few I've had. So my initial one is self-care.
So important, nice.
Well, I'd say last year I set goals and my children set goals, 3 each, and my wife.
Wow.
But after doing the year, I'd actually change the way we do it. I'd do it again. So basically we set 3 goals each and we had 3 things we wanted to do more of during the year. The 3 goals, I'd change it to make them, number one, more manageable and more achievable. Then my kids have achieved some of them, but me and my wife haven't, which is not good. And they're embarrassing us. But I think the flaw we did is we set it for a year-end goal. I think you need to set them the target not so far away.
Yeah.
Because it's hard to keep track of that goal, especially when life gets on top and you're moving around. So
That comes down to smart goals, like the smart goal principle. You know, have a realistic time frame, like you say, because how many New Year's resolutions start in January?
Yeah.
And they end in January.
Yeah.
That's right.
You know, and they do. I mean, you've only got to go to the budget gyms, you know, when you start back there and then run.
Yeah.
And then over the months, you see people just gradually.
Well, dogs get walked so much in January, because I'm going to get fit, so I'll take the dog for a walk. February, the dog's back in the fucking kennel.
Well, do you know the important thing, the biggest mistake people make with goals is they focus on the result. No, you carry on.
Excuse me, sorry.
So the thing is so like if you want to lose weight, and this is the way I look at it. So for me, my weight loss goals had to go out the window last year for the last 12 months, just because I'm working so hard. So I'm like, something's got to give. So I was like, right, I'm not going to focus on. I did a bit of gym, but not as much as I like to. Didn't focus on my diet, but everything else I achieved. So 35. Well, I set out to do probably about 10, 20 magazines, but I ended up being published in 35. Been on the radio with Kev. I was on the radio 5 times. I think this is my 5th or 6th podcast. So I absolutely smashed those goals, but it wasn't so much about the result. What I said to myself is every day I'm going to write 5 newsletters for the media and send them off. So what happens is if I focus on doing that, then, and I do it every day, even when I felt poorly or ill, I missed the odd day and then caught up the next day. But that can be the goals. So if you want to lose weight, you say, right, I'm going to have a walk every day. Don't make everything massive. Or if it's a financial goal, right, I'm going to spend less every day. So focus on the actions rather than and this is the biggest mistake people do because they say to themselves, right, I want to do this, and then every day they haven't achieved it, their brain goes, oh right, I'm not going to give you any dopamine because you haven't achieved it. But if you say break it down into the actions you need to take, then that's how you'll achieve your goals. And I was saying to Craig earlier, is when you do something once, so I'm going to keep an eye on Craig this year to make sure. So we say if you straighten out a metal coat hanger, and Craig does 1 day of self-care, so he's done his 1 day today, we've done a couple of techniques, so he's got 1 coat hanger. It's easy to bend that coat hanger. This is not my metaphor, it's Tony Robbins'. So what happens is if Craig does this 30 days running or does it 28 days out of 35 and he's got 28 coat hangers, you imagine trying to bend them. That's a tough habit to break. So it's about momentum, it's about keeping moving. So whatever you want to achieve, find out what the actions are and then tick off. I have a little book. In fact, if you go to Wilco, there's a little green book, it's £3, and basically it's a goal setting book, and you write down what things you should do and what things you shouldn't, and then you tick them off Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday or whatever else when you do it, and they're on every page. So it's dead easy. So for me it was like, I need to meditate more, I need to go for more walks, I need to go to the gym. So and all the other goals I've got, but it meant on the whole I probably achieved most of my goals. But the other thing is, don't worry, I have 30 goals a year that I write down. I'll probably achieve about 5 of those.
Yeah.
But the next ones roll over because I still want them. I still want them. They're not ready yet. And the other thing is, if you don't achieve your goal, what we used to call at BT, we used to do plan, do, review. So you plan to do your goals, what are the actions you need to take the actions, then review your progress, and then go back to the plan.
And I think something that we said before bed, boxers put too much fixation on the winning and losing.
Yeah.
And we said as long as you perform, and you were saying about the green, indigo, and
green, amber, traffic lights,
yeah,
green, amber, red.
Yeah. And I think that sometimes what we can do is, have I performed well? Have I had a good day? Green.
Yeah.
I've had a mediocre day, and I've had a terrible day, and that can be same with sparring, boxing, performing, podcasts, your music, whatever it is, your sales. When it can be, in my mind, I didn't get the sale, but I performed brilliantly.
Yeah.
They did. Will it be played on Radio 1? Probably not, but I like the tune.
I think one way to look at that, when you say they focus on the results and you say people fixate on the results, I did a Prince's Trust course once on business and that, and I think Richard Branson and Aren, and they all say it is, when you do a business plan, they don't give a shit what's on the paper. They want to know what you've learned by following the process and coming up with a plan. They don't care about the end result. It's what you've learned during the process.
Plenty of business plans in my time, and let me tell you, they're very rarely the flick through.
Yeah.
Where you hand them into whoever's. Yeah.
Because they want to know what you've learned through the process. They don't want to know what you've jotted down on the paper, which is crazy because you that's the result, and you think it's all about the result.
But you know, the crazy thing is it only takes a little bit of effort consistently every day, and at the end of the year, when you've done that 365 times or as many times as you can. So if you're taking one step a day or one press up, and then you do 2, and then you do 3, and things like that, it's called it compound interest. So you keep building, keep building. So those little things turn into mountains. And I say to people, like, you know, there are some days when you're really prolific, like you'll be writing or you do whatever, and you smash the day. But there are some days, and I call it doing it dirty or doing it scruffy, and you just get through the day. It's not pretty, but you've got through it. Does that make sense? Yeah. They count as well, and sometimes they count more than the pretty days. Because they're the days where, and when I was at the gym and I was bodybuilding last year or the year before, is I'd be in the gym and my mate would go, "Can't believe you're in here today. You look like death warmed up." And I'd go, "I don't want to be here." But if I do 10 minutes, it's 10 minutes more than I would have, and the energy to get in the car, to get to the gym, to get out and get in the gym, is a day, you know, that you haven't wasted. Because again, with the negative habit, it's 1 coat hanger, 2 coat hangers, then you don't go again. So that negative habit strengthens.
I love that. I really do. I've never heard that. I've heard, obviously, I've seen Summertime and Robin stuff, but I've never heard that until tonight, and I love that.
But it's like with anything, when the kids go, I can't skip. I went to my practice. When the key to doing anything is practice, being able to read, to write, to be able to coach. You've got to keep doing it, because I am naturally rubbish at everything. But I have to practice. I had to practice doing press ups because I do every press up, but I couldn't do chin up. Because I couldn't do it, they inspired me to have to do a half one to a full one to going over and over and over until I knew I could do it. But that's, as we said before, about that courage to push through it.
They say, don't they, the journey of 1,000,000 miles begins with 1 step.
It's so important.
You can't expect to take 1 step and cover 1,000,000 steps worth of.
And my geometry starts with a simple acorn. And it's whatever terminology, we all start with that first bit.
And it's a consistency. All you have to do is little things each day. And when I started writing letters for the, I'm not embarrassed to say this either. When I started this journey, someone said, like, you're great at what you do, but nobody's heard about you. You've got to get some PR, you need to get out there, and that's why I'm doing this. So I was like, I'm cool to do that. So I started writing newsletters, and I think I wrote 30 up until December last year, and not one of them went in. And I was like, I've written 30 newsletters, I've gone out to these magazines. So I cried. I've been out for a drink, and this went with my mates. I started crying. I was like, why is life so hard? Why is it so hard? And I said to myself, do you know what, Nick? Pull yourself together, keep going. If you have to write 60 to get one in, you're going to write 60. Anyway, the weird thing was, that night when I was crying, I was already in Cosmopolitan and Men's Health, but they hadn't emailed me to tell me. So sometimes the success is there, but you don't know it's there.
And you're too busy fixated. You're beating yourself up that no one's got back to you. And
exactly.
But that success is there, but you don't realise that's there. And how many of that affects, impacts on us, because you don't see your own value sometimes.
Yeah.
You get lost in the darkness. How will any woman ever like me? How can they ever take me? And you're thinking, but other people can sometimes see what you can't see yourself.
Yeah.
I think, like you say, perseverance is one thing, and we need to not assess our value, our inner value, and our true value by perceptions and successes and that, because it's not just because someone else is not feeling it. I could do a song and you think, well, that's really shit. Kev might like it, so you've got to find. We've mentioned this, find your tribe, you know. And
the other thing as well is, what I say to people is, who are you, right? Take away your skin and bones, all right? Who are you? How would I know it's you?
Yeah.
If I put you in Kev's body and swapped all our bodies around, how would we know it was you? So what, you know, this is the thing. It's like, so I said to myself, so forget about physical looks or anything like that, or your skin and bones. So I would go, I'm intelligent, kind, funny, a couple of other things. So that's how I identify myself. What are the things that you identify about you?
Well, it's like when I always
you can't change those things, because, you know, I would say for you, great dad is one thing we'd throw out there. Talented, gifted with words, music and poetry.
Yeah.
So that's two. So it wouldn't matter whose body you're in, you'd still be that character. And Kev, you know, the things that, what would you say about yourself?
Well, I was going to say, like, how many people I talk to with disabilities and whatever, and I always say to them, I'm not a visually impaired man. I'm a man who happens to be visually impaired. I'm not defined by disability. I'm not defined by being a boxing instructor. I'm not defined by being a dad. I've got many different things that make me who I am. And it took me until the age of 36 to realise there's many different pots that I fall into. I'm not just one big pot, not one big piss pot. But I'm many different things. I'm many different things that make me this person. And I think that's what a lot of people don't see. They go, well, I am a black man, I am a gay woman, and you're thinking, that is just one part of you.
Well, one of the things that I would say with Kev, and this is what I found, and you forget he's blind, was going through London, and I started to get a bit sad, because when he was negotiating the escalators and everything, you know how busy London is, and I started to feel a bit bad. I was thinking, how am I going to get him through? What's he going through on the tube and everything else? And that's one thing about Kev, it's like, you don't realise how determined he is, and you know, he makes himself look as if he's the same, you know, he's got the same vision as the rest of us, and it's overwhelming sometimes.
Do you know what, sometimes even when you mention it, I mean, I've trained one-to-one with you boxing, and I don't think, I only think of it when you mention it. I mean, I could be talking to you and I wouldn't think, you know, equal saying that, and so, I said to you before, like, sometimes I'll send him a message on WhatsApp as opposed to a voice note. And so, like, and
so does Kate. You know.
And then I think afterwards, oh, Craig, just send a voice note because he sees it. Because you carry yourself so well even through it all. You know,
But that's been a credit to my parents and to other people around me, because I've met so many people. Yeah. And they are that they can be nothing else but that. And I feel sorry for those people, because I think. Yeah. Like, as a disabled person, I always think, would anyone ever want me as a partner, because I was broken. So I was off, that was mainly through school and bad support teachers to being on the pool, and even when I'd fall in love with someone, I never thought they'd commit and be a soul partner. And then I got Kate, and, you know, been a bugger in my time. But it's by the grace of God. And then this is what I try and tell these other people with disabilities, saying, don't let this define you, because now I'm happily married and I've got a 4-year-old daughter, but to have said that to someone so much younger than me, like when Nick was saying, you've got to let your story go, Kev, you've got to be out there telling people this. And at the time when we first met, I'd be about 21, I was going, no way now. I'm not going to tell people, because I'm already in enough trouble, scrapping and doing whatever. I don't want to give the bullies ammunition. And now as a 30-odd-year-old man, I think, well, who gives a kip of stick, and if you can help someone out there, that's my duty.
I think the other thing to mention is, aren't we all broken?
Oh yeah.
You know, whether you've got a physical disability or a mental disability or whatever, everybody I meet, you know, that's honest, I would say most people would say they feel there's some part of them that's not, that needs fixing, and I say, well, why not embrace that? And that's what we've done 15 years ago. That's what I was saying to Kev. You've got to tell this story, because when he told me the story, and I was training with Kev at the time, and I was going, how can you do that with the pads then? I was saying, you can't see. And he said, when I was teaching him NLP, he said, I wish I could see people's eyes, because we were doing eye access and cues. And I was thinking, bloody hell, it's amazing. And that's what I said. Your story was so inspiring. And I knew then we were going to go on a journey. I didn't know where it would end. You know, and there's a load more chapters to write still. But when you start being yourself and accepting yourself for who you are, and having that self-care.
Yeah.
And I always say to people, you don't have to love yourself, because I went through the whole thing when I collapsed. It was like stand in front of the mirror and go, I love you, you're an amazing human being. I was like, my mind's just going, oh, this is a load of twaddle. You know, so what I do, if I need to, I just look at myself and go, you're okay, son.
Yeah.
Shrug my shoulder, go, you're okay. And that's all I need to get to and have a good day.
I always say it could be worse. It could always be worse.
Yeah.
That's what I always say.
No, there's I said something the other day, because I was after my reset button, someone had that tattooed on me or whatever else, because there's I can't remember what is it, Briggs, one of the boxers.
Shannon Briggs.
Let's go champ. And
Yeah,
I
he's
watched this thing
depressed.
and he said, this is my reset button. When I'm feeling negative, when I'm feeling this, I just look at myself and say, let's go champ. And I thought, that's wicked.
You
No,
listened to him on the Joe Rogan podcast. Absolutely brilliant.
Joe Rogan's great, isn't
Yeah.
it?
See, I think that's so like the viewers and that could take something away from it in regards to goals and that New Year goals. Maybe, as you say, identify with yourself what you'll never change about you. So if you've got put in someone else's body, they know it was you through these 3 or 5 values, and look at them and let them manifest themselves. And
Self-assessment in that is, for me, it's so hard to actually do without going negative.
What do you mean?
But I found that with work, you know, I've done a lot of sit down and see how your year's gone, what you want to do with the future, where are your strengths, and I always go down to a negative, so not a strength.
In what sense? Sorry, could you elaborate on that?
In terms of when I'm thinking about myself.
So you think, well, I'm shit at everything, so what, you know, instead of saying, well, this is me and they know me for this, you'd think, well, this is me, but I do.
Well, but the thing is like I could say to you, like, do you deprive children of food and, you know...
I don't try to.
Right, so you're likely to be a good dad, from what I can gather. If you're getting your kids to do goals, then you're likely
I understand what you're saying there, but then I also think, I've spent that much time working when I should have been with my kids, or wallowing, or not being with my kids.
And the reason for that voice in your head is that's to make you drive harder. So don't think the negative voice is like mine is, I'm not good enough. And I keep it there because it's like, I'm not good enough means I need to get a little bit more, get a little bit better. So it keeps me ahead of my competition.
Yeah.
So everything I study, even now, I'm thinking, what could I have done better?
Yeah.
So don't say it's a bad thing, because it's moving you forward, but also what you've got to do is show gratitude for the blessings in your life. What have you created in your life that you've done well? We're not saying, oh, let's relax and stay there. We're just going, oh, every bit of your life you've got to go, well, you know, I work hard, but what does that do? That provides income for my family. Because, you know, if I didn't work hard and I was like, you know, sort of sitting around this, I nearly might have a job.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You know that negative voice?
Yeah.
Is that you do a good technique for this, don't you?
Yeah, I've got a few.
Would you like to try one out on me?
Yeah, so if you have the negative voice and it's particularly bad, there's a couple of things you can do. One of them is to push your tongue right at the top of your mouth. Because what happens is what people don't realise, when we're thinking about things, people do micro expressions, and this is how I can read body language when people are thinking about certain things, and you'll see when people are thinking about certain words, you'll see their lips move and their tongue move. So when the critical voice is going off, it's likely your tongue is going to be moving in the mouth. If you push it right at the roof of your mouth, it will shut it down. And the other thing as well, so identify whereabouts you hear the critical voice in your foot, around your head. So some people it's here, some people it's here, some people it's here. Mostly it's behind the ears, because this is where teachers or your parents stood over you and told you you're bad.
Yeah.
So it's a technique I use where I stand behind people and I'll say positive things.
Do you want to come and jump down here? Because I've done this with Nick before. You two come and sit over here.
Yeah, just so identify the voice that tells you you're not good enough or whatever when it's plaguing you, and replay it now and just show me with your hand whereabouts the voice is.
In truth, I'm struggling at the moment. I've had a few days where I don't feel well and I've had a lot going in.
So it should be quite
I'm
busy.
struggling to relax, actually, to do anything.
Yeah.
That makes sense. There's too much going on.
Too much going on. So where's that come from? What's driving you forward?
Driving me forward? Sorry,
So you said you've had a busy few days, you're struggling to relax. What's keeping you going?
I'll just keep going. I've always been that way. I couldn't tell you. I'll just keep going.
All right, so if you can't get the critical voice, but that's a good thing, so you always manage to keep going, so that's a positive. That doesn't matter what you feel like, you always keep going. So that's something to consider.
See, now, when, like, obviously I'm not enforcing it now, but initially it's again the throat, but behind my eyes.
Behind your eye? Right, okay. So it'll have a specific tonality, won't it, the way it speaks to you, yeah? You got it? So we need to imagine pulling it from behind your eyes and your throat and putting it in front of you on your hand like that. So put your hand out like that. And then what I want you to do, I want you to put a green wig on it. red nose that we do for.
You just look.
So just imagine it, and imagine it saying to you now, and it's talking to you in a squeaky voice. So,
Working already.
who's got the power? This is what we call driving your own bus, all right? So this is all I do. I teach you ways, because most people sit on the bus, and the bus driver's a negative person telling us we're rubbish with this, that and the other. And don't get me wrong, when I'm stressed and tired, sometimes I sit on the back of the bus and the bus driver's driving me down these dark lanes. But every now and again, you've got to get in there and you've got to drive your own bus. Tell them who's in control and then do that.
Would that work? Will that work for not necessarily like an attack on your self-esteem, but would that work for any sort of negative thought?
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
So we're changing the submodalities, because when it's behind your eyes or behind your ears, it's normally above you and bigger than you.
Okay.
So it's inside. So when you move it and put it there,
It's below.
green wig, little red comedy nose on it, comic relief, and he's talking to you like that. There's no power.
It worked. I mean, will that?
Yeah, exactly.
So that's the saying. It's like these seem such simple techniques.
Well, the funny thing is about mental health, and this is what really frustrates me, is I have to be careful what I'm saying, but most of the mental health services are a little bit old now. Does that make sense? So we've had a lot of advancements with mental health, and things are there's a lot of improvements. And the problem with the NHS and places like that, the organisation is so big, and the hoops you have to jump through. Like I say, I've been trying to get Blast in there for 3 years. I'd say to them, test it, I'll work for free, and this, that, and the other, keep getting knocked back. Is it because of that? I know, I don't think it's malicious, but because of that, things like that take longer to come in, and that's why I do this podcast, because if somebody can have a technique to get them through and go, well, I've got that for free, then, we can help people.
On about what Lee was saying, is there anything for that? Sometimes my head gets that full of stuff.
Yeah, so for Lee, you've got to do Lima. So as soon as you get like that, feet flat on the floor, hands on your lap. And the reason I don't push you there, because I could see there was some tears behind your eyes. That'll come through. So just relax, and as you look at the floor, and then I'll just do it. I'll have a little cry. And what a cry does is you've got your emotional rucksack on the bag, and the cry just gives you a little bit of space in there, and that'll get you through. But do that every morning, every night before bed. And it's like putting the petrol in, and just giving yourself a couple of litres of fuel extra. And that's what we do with the boxers, isn't it, Kev? Before they fight, we're getting into that state. And Kev's, absolutely smashing this with the boxers now.
I actually tried it. You gave us a similar technique when you were here last, and it was the candle. Lying
Candle
in the bath with the
meditation,
candle.
yeah.
And I did actually try it. And it did.
It worked?
Yeah, it did actually. I mean, it sent me a bit dizzy to start with.
Because your mind is busy. It's like a snow globe. You know those snow globes everyone brings you back from holiday? But that's what your mind is. When we're busy, all the snow's like that. And when you watch the candle, so it's the same with Lima with the candle, loosen your body in the bath, inhale diaphragmatically, meditate on the candle, and then say your affirmations. Then what happens? It allows the snow to settle.
I have something, this may be not related at all, but I have something that I'm very conscious of. I really have to hide, and I don't know if it's because of the stress I put myself. I have I'll say a twitch. I keep wanting to lift my chin, my brow. Yeah. Like you'll see me sometimes, I'll rub my eye because I'm trying that hard to not show it.
Yeah, so normally tics and twitches and things like that, the fact that the emotional rucksack is so full, first thing that comes out is a twitch. So once you start to empty the rucksack, that twitch will go and just relax. But that's another sign, because for you, eyes are massive for you.
Yeah, blinking
and stuff behind your eyes. So your whole eyes and everything else for you, that's your area. Like Kev's his stomach. Yeah. When I'm working with Kev, I know it's all about his stomach. So for you, the eyes are so important. So it's about as soon as you feel heavy eyes or you're blinking there, Lima, or do the candle meditation.
See, as he said, heavy eyes, and he said the pressure behind
the behind his eyes, yeah.
And the twitching of the eyes, it's all eyes.
You know, when you talk, are you a seeing person or a feeling person? What was he? How he talks? He's a feeling person.
I was going to say, because of his hands, if you look where his hands are, he's kinesthetic, so feeling. Because visual people normally have their hands up here, auditory here. Yeah. Kinesthetic tends to be down here because of his work and everything else. You'll notice with his metaphors, there's a lot of feeling. Like when he was saying about chucking the water over the piece of fabric or whatever it was. Everything is about feeling, because he can feel that water and he knows how it is.
The pressure and everything's in his eyes.
But that's the weird thing is because it's kinesthetic first, then visual.
Yeah.
So it comes from a feeling to translate it through his eyes. But when you understand how your brain works and you get this better, you help yourself. Does that make sense? So it's
Do
analysing.
you have, without obviously putting yourself out of any kind of work, do you have resources that we can sort of learn the basics on ourselves, or people can learn them?
Yeah, I mean, all stuff like this. I mean, people say, can you recommend me a book, video, or something for this, that, and the other? And I say, I can recommend you about 1,000.
Yeah, so
Very good podcast.
No, but the thing is, honestly, podcasts like this, Aren's podcast, my www.ndhypnotherapy.wordpress.com, and then you can go into the search things at the side. So there's anxiety, there's depression, there's hundreds of, probably thousands things up there now, videos and newsletters and everything else. So just have a scan around, and if you read all of that, you'll get most of my knowledge, or certainly a lot of it.
But as I say, this is wonderful having you on, but sometimes you need to go and see someone like Nick or these professionals because you don't have your gardener cut your hair, and sometimes you don't need a 2-minute conversation. This is wonderful what we do, and every week we get together, but sometimes I've had to go and see Nick over weeks, and you have to pay the money because you have to have the results.
Yeah.
What was that old saying you used to say about the bloke on the computer? He was in there for 2 minutes and he fixed it, or he had a hammer.
Oh yeah, no, it's a ship. That's Paul McKenna's. So he basically says there's this old steamship in Louisiana or wherever it was, and he breaks down. It's a famous ship. Anyway, he's paid out for all these engineers. No one can fix it. And he gets this guy in, and he says, "I'm not cheap." He says, "I'm 10 grand." And the guy goes, "Oh bloody hell, 10
He's
grand."
not quite that dear, by the way.
And so he says, "Right, come in." Anyway, so he listens to the pipes on the steamship, listens, and the captain walks around with him. He goes, "I think I know what it is." He goes, "It's this one." He gets a little tack hammer out, taps this thing, and the engine fires up, and he goes, "There you go, it's 10 grand." And he goes, 10 grand? 10 grand? I could have tapped that with a hammer. And he says, tapping it with a hammer at $1, knowing where to tap, 9,999.
That makes a lot of sense. I mean, like from today, me personally, I seem to have got such value out of speaking. Because I spoke to you and Tyler recently about having a tough time, and he said to speak with you, and I was looking forward to it, but I never anticipated getting so much. I've got so much I can incorporate into my life.
And that's what this is about. I say to people, there are so many free resources out there, stuff you can learn. And sometimes people want it. And I do make that joke. They say, "Can you recommend me a book?" I say, "I can recommend you 1,000." And they say, "How do I learn everything you do?" And I say, "Do my courses." I say, "That's how you can do it, because we'll listen to all my podcasts or whatever, read my newsletters, but immerse yourself like I did. I listen to everybody. I listen, and I'm learning all the time. Even my students or people like here, I listen to things, I learn things, and I change things, because I'm never going to go, all right, I'm good enough now." And that's why I always think I'm not good enough, because I'm going to keep growing, and every day I keep pushing to be a better version of myself. And then it's hard sometimes. And then somebody sent me an email and said, "You know what? You've got loads of integrity. You're kind. You're generous. You're exactly the sort of person I want to be when I do hypnotherapy." And I said to him, honestly, that's made my day. I said, because I work so hard to be that. Because I say, I work sometimes in an industry where there are a few sharks. So to be classed like that, that's what I've always set out to be. It doesn't fill me classrooms full of people or things like that. However, I'd rather be the person I am than,
a dolphin among sharks.
Yes, exactly. I like that.
But like a lot of people, they say they'll go and pay for a private strength conditioner, weightlifter, a dietitian, a boxing instructor, a yoga,
hairdressing,
car. But they won't go and pay that extra bit of money to get their head sorted. And I honestly believe, if your mind's not right, nothing will be right.
Well, a client said to me, she said, "You're twice as expensive as my counsellor." And I said, "How much do you pay for your counselling?" She said, £50. "You're £100. I said, when you work with me, how much success did you get?" She said, "In the 2 sessions, you've resolved everything." I said, "How much success have you got with your counsellor?" She said, "Well, I've had twice as many and we've had no changes." I said, "So it's..." And it's about, I specialise in what I do because I collapsed and I've been through it. I've had depression, I've had anxiety, I've had panic attacks, stress, you name it, I've been through it. And I had to learn myself sitting in the library every night. And when you're in that state, as you guys know, you become a prolific learner. So what for me is I don't want anyone to feel as lost or alone as I was in that 18-month period. And that's why I do these things, because I think if I can move one person, it's a bit cliched, but I genuinely live for the feedback. So when I get that one bit of feedback from the client or somebody says something nice, I'm like, right, I know I'm on the right path.
Well, that's why we started this podcast, because everything we're talking about, is our stories.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If you ask us to talk about period pains, that's out of my comfort zone personally. But you know, all the stuff we're talking about and like on our journey, and I thought if I could help a young Kevin Dillon get through it, that I think it's what's that saying? It's our human obligation to do this, you know. And I think it's so right if we can share our knowledge and our experiences. So it's not like an after-school special or an episode of Saved by the Bell. You know, it's real pain, and people respect reality. They sift through bullshit, but they can find solace in genuine people.
Yeah, and that's the thing is, like, you know, I always think back 15 years ago when we started this journey together, and I would say, what would Kevin today say to Kevin 15 years ago? You know, what advice would you go back and give him?
I'd have to say, you've got to do it when you're ready, son. It'll be all right in the morning, but you've got to do it when you're ready. Because I think more someone would have pushed me towards it, more I'd have pushed against it.
Yeah, but the most important thing you said there was it'll be all right.
It'll be all right in the morning, son.
Yeah, and that's the thing is we think, you know, we struggle through things, and that's why I say courage is a really important thing to do, because if you just keep moving ahead, you keep pushing, not too hard, you remember to relax, you know, you've always got, and then you, like I was saying, boxing, you don't do 10-minute rounds, do 2 minutes, you have 1 minute rest. That's how we have to apply our lives. Work hard for your 2 minutes, metaphorically, and then do your 1 minute rest.
That was off camera, we said that, by the way. So if you go into that, I think it was you saying, or was it one of you saying, like, you have to feel like you're sleeping 3 hours a day and working over 21, and Nick come up with that terminology.
So most people, I said, you wouldn't do this in boxing. You wouldn't box for 10 minutes non-stop.
Nah.
You know, it'd be crazy. You'd, like, if I was saying to you as a coach, you go, get lost, we have 1 minute break, 1 minute break. Everyone would be arguing it. But in life, we don't take that 1 minute break. And meditation and the techniques we've done today are so simple, they're so easy, so effective. And all I'm trying to say is, let's make these habits, you know, go back into the coat hanger again. If you do it once, it's going to bend, you're going to break it. But if you make it a habit and do it every day, and it gets stronger and stronger.
Like you say, the greatest friend you can have is yourself.
Yeah.
Because he sees it. You've got the world to talk down to you and talk negative to you. You've got social media to feed you negative information and visuals and whatever else. The last thing you want to do is be putting yourself through that mill and adding to it. So you gotta know when to shut the door on that shit. And like you said, be kind to yourself.
Well, and what you focus on, you get more of, whether it's negative or positive. Your brain will start to look what you're consistently looking at.
So every time people say that, like, I hope we don't have no trouble tonight.
We've said this,
and
you're attracting it because your body language.
It's mad because, like, before I was going through, like, the down phase, the past few weeks, I had a week of positivity, nothing negative. I was just positive. And I say to my partner, I say, be positive, because the universe rewards your positivity. And this is going to sound crazy, but the guy we did some work for, did an extension for, he gave me a Christmas card with £30 in. My partner phoned me that day. I also made a tenner on something else, which is minimal. She phoned me and said, I found a £5. The day after, she found a tenner. And I said,
no, we're lucky with
you know what I mean?
See you from the blind, what a bunch of bricks.
It's from your pocket, everyone's following you. I kept saying to her, I said, see, this is exactly what I mean. And then it turned off. I turned on myself again and found nothing since.
No, but that's the other thing to remember is, like, don't force stuff. If you're forcing, this is what happens on NLP courses, like Aren was sort of touching on it, but people go and do an NLP course and then they whoop you up and they go, feel happy all the time. So you force yourself to be happy. And a friend of mine who I do podcasts with as well, he says, and then they have a breakdown after 18 months. You can't force yourself to be happy all the time. You know, you wouldn't know what hot water felt like unless you'd had cold, because you've got to have something to compare it to.
They say the rain allows you to appreciate the sunshine.
Exactly.
And to force yourself to be happy, you're just happy all the time, happy. You're going to run out of happiness.
Exactly. And if you're happy all the time, you get depressed, because the brain doesn't like familiarity too much. So when it gets same, you're going to get depressed, because you'll be like, oh God, not another lottery win. You know, everything wears. Like, there's a guy called Dan Bilzerian who's a poker player, and you might have seen him. He's on yachts with loads of women, and he's certainly a multi-millionaire. And he says the most I can enjoy a meal is a 6 out of 10. He said, because I have 3 Michelin star chefs that living with me, so whenever I go out, the maximum I can enjoy a meal is 6 out of 10. He said, imagine that's your life.
Weird, doesn't he?
Yeah,
it's constant.
So that's great. It's everything in equal balance. I mean, everything is balanced. The yin and
yin and yang, balance, moderation. It's what it's all
Yeah.
about. And you have to, like it's absolutely tipping down today. And I was stressed. I've been in the car for 2.5 hours to get here. Didn't manage to do my podcast with Aren. There's a part of me going, I've had enough of this. I'm going to turn around and go home because I'm still with this after 2 hours. And then I'm like, do you know what? No, just push it through. It'll be all right. It's tipping down. The car's playing up and this, that, and the other. But I'm like, do you know what I'm learning?
Yeah.
There's something good's going to happen because you can't have a run of bad luck for that long. It has to turn.
You have to balance it out, and it's about keeping your own decorum and knowing yourself that, look, I'm riding the waves. They say it's that metaphor with the life machine, isn't it? Where when it's up and down, that's life. When it's a flat line,
but you have to allow yourself, to appreciate the sunshine sometimes.
Yeah.
And sometimes I think that's what we're all guilty of here. Sometimes we can push ourselves too hard, like I have this year. I've took a step back now because things are calming down for December, and I'm just like, right, I'm going to reflect on this year and start to enjoy what I've done and reflect on that, and then just chill out a bit.
So a good thing before we end. So one to say, New Year's goals for everyone. This could be universal to absolutely everyone. Is self-care.
Self-care and consistency with it.
Consistency and self-care, two staples to anyone's goals, no matter what else you do.
And maybe we have to check. Maybe we have to check in with each other and say, and be honest, because I'm not great at it either. I forget to meditate, and sometimes what I'll do is if I'm stressed, have a bath in the morning.
Yeah.
And I know people might say, well, you can't get up and add them. And I say, well, when I relax, I can have a more measured view on the day.
Yeah.
So I'll get up a bit early, have a nice bath, and at least I know when my first client comes in, I'm relaxed because I need to be there for them. So I think, maybe as part of this podcast, we check in with each other and say, how much have we done? Because, it's hard to do my job and look after myself.
Yeah.
Because I have to be in two different states.
So someone just to ask you and hold you, I'll say accountability.
Exactly the same as if we were saying, have you been to the gym? Have you been boxing?
Yeah.
Same thing. And that's what we need to champion as, mental health champions is we've got to do it ourselves. And if you've got buddies around you, go, how many times you meditated this week?
Yeah.
And you go, I've had a bad week. All right, next week, do I want one more or two more? Does that make it
no
fun?
Good setting the goals and rules if no one's there to enforce them or help you enforce them.
Encourage them, not enforce.
Yeah, I thought enforce is a strong word, but
Don't push him.
Well, that's going to finish us for today. Have you got any quotes, Nick? Anything to take away?
I think I would say, what Craig has said, the self-care is so important, and it's probably the biggest neglected thing we do. Like we say, you service your car, you get your hair done, you pay for this, that and the other, but what do we do for mental health? And now we can see how simple the techniques are, and these guys can see how simple it is.
Yeah.
It's 5 minutes a day. Honestly, 5 or 10 minutes a day. It's that simple.
Well, thank you as always. Thanks for coming on. So that's going to do us. So until next week, gang, ta-ra a bit.
Listen.
And that's a wrap for another show. But if there are any comments or messages that you would like us to read out for our next podcast, please be in touch. There are also lots of different organisations at the bottom of this page, and hopefully they can help you or someone you care about. Please share this to spread the word. Until we talk next time, ta-ra a bit.
Listen.